Fear is something we all know. It shows up when we think about making a big change, when we step out of our comfort zone, or when we imagine facing something unknown. Fear tells us to stay small, stay hidden, stay safe. But what if the very thing we're afraid of is the key to unlocking a life we've always dreamed of? Let me tell you about a man named Leo who learned this the hard way. Leo lived in a quiet town. Every day he worked in a small bookstore his family had owned for generations. He spent his time stocking shelves, checking in books, and helping customers find what they were looking for. His life was routine, predictable, and safe. But deep down, Leo had a dream to write a book of his own. A book that could inspire others the way his favorite authors had inspired him. But every time he thought about it, fear would stop him. Who would read it? What if it's terrible? One rainy afternoon, a stranger walked into the bookstore. He was older, with a weathered face that spoke of wisdom earned over a lifetime. He wandered the aisles and eventually stopped by Leo's desk. "You work here every day," the man said. "Tell me, what would you do if you weren't here?" Leo laughed nervously. "I don't know. Maybe write a book." The man studied Leo for a long moment before speaking again. "Then why aren't you?" Leo froze. The question pierced deeper than he expected. He had thought about writing for years, but fear had always held him back. "I'm not a writer," Leo muttered, looking away. The stranger smiled gently. "No one is born a writer, but everyone has a story to tell. You can't hide from your dreams forever, Leo. Your fear is a sign that you're on the edge of something important." Leo wanted to argue. He wanted to say that the world wasn't ready for his stories, that people wouldn't care. But the man's words lingered in his mind long after he left. That night, Leo couldn't sleep. He sat at his desk, staring at the blank page. The fear was still there, heavy in his chest. But something else was there too, a tiny spark of courage. The next morning, Leo decided to take a small step. He opened his laptop and typed the first few words of his story. They weren't perfect. The words didn't come out the way he imagined, but they were real. For the first time in years, Leo allowed himself to dream. The next day, he wrote again, and the next. Every day, the fear didn't disappear, but it began to feel smaller. He realized that writing wasn't about being fearless, it was about continuing anyway. Months passed, and Leo finally finished his book. He felt both proud and terrified. He sent it to a few friends for feedback. They all responded with encouragement and excitement. One friend even told him that his book had inspired them to chase their own dreams. That's when Leo understood the fear hadn't been about failure. It had been about being seen, about exposing himself and his dreams to the world. Leo took another step and decided to self-publish his book. The night before it was released, he felt the familiar tightness in his chest. He thought about deleting the whole project, about hiding the book away and pretending he never tried. But he remembered the stranger's words, and he pressed the publish button anyway. The book launched, and to Leo's surprise, people responded. Some loved it. Some didn't, but that didn't matter. What mattered was that Leo had done it. He had faced the fear that had kept him stuck for so long and taken action. And in doing so, he had unlocked a part of himself that had been hidden away. Years later, Leo was a successful author, but he still felt the pull of fear every time he wrote something new. But now, he knew that fear wasn't a stop sign. It was an invitation to grow. He understood that courage wasn't the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Fear was no longer his enemy, it was a companion on his journey. Think about your own life right now. What have you been putting off because of fear? Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a dream you're too scared to chase. Whatever it is, know this: the only way through fear is to walk toward it. Take one small step. The fear won't disappear, but you will. And in that process, you will find a courage you never knew you had. The next time fear shows up in your life, don't let it stop you. Let it guide you to the life you're meant to live.